Braves, Phillies, O's, Rockies, the Dodgers, and the D-backs. Full game breakdowns coming in those, and best bets coming your way in the Cardinals and the Yankees. We got a breakdown coming in that one, and then we got Mariners and Angels coming your way. Make sure you stay tuned here. Hit that like button and hit subscribe. We would appreciate it. Dan Alexander here on First Pitch, WagerTalk TV, a Friday edition. And joining me, the Friday crew, back at it, Bryan, Leonard, and Steve Merril here to break down a huge slate, one of which featuring a doubleheader here today. We'll see what we can touch upon here in the next 30 or so minutes that we'll be rocking with you. But Bryan, you know I always love it when we get to start talking off about my Philadelphia Phillies. That's the game that you have slated to start us off with here. This one going at 6:40 tonight. And in true Phillies fashion, two swings. It was two swings that made all the difference yesterday. 3-run shot in the 6th by Brandon Marsh. The 2-run shot in the 7th, the following inning with Castellanos. So 3 games left. This is a huge 4-game set. We talked about it yesterday. Really the question for me here in game 2, it got a little sweaty yesterday, but do you think the Phils here, again, as a favorite, could continue to add to this lead they're building here in the NL East? What say you, Bryan?
Yeah, 2 teams playing pretty good baseball right now. 2 teams have had their seasons interrupted because of a little bit of injuries, but especially Atlanta losing a lot of key players. But I got to give them credit. They've been able to stick in there with an aging pitching staff, a couple of rookie starters, and it's now something that both teams are fighting for first place here. Ronaldo Lopez, career year. After being a bullpen arm the last couple of seasons, he enters play with an outstanding 2.02 ERA, 1.18 WHIP. But you know me, I got to take a little bit of a closer look at his advanced stats, and he's pitching well over his head. I think just about everybody knows it. His expected ERA is 4.34. His actual ERA is 2.02. Something is up there. He's in the 24th percentile in average exit velocity, which is not that great, along with the 25th percentile in barrel rate. So he's getting hit hard. He's been lucky. To his credit, great numbers, but there is a lot of luck involved. And his last 3 starts, he has permitted just 2 earned runs in 14 innings. So he's pitching well right now, and he's on the Phillies. It's amazing how he's done against the Phillies so far this year. He's allowed a single run in 11 combined innings. So we're expecting the normal regression out of Lopez, but we also add in the regression against the Phillies. It's not like the Phillies forgot to hit when they faced him before. So I expect Philadelphia to come out with a really good offensive game plan here, having faced him twice already. Just on the other side of this, we got Ranger Suarez. He's having an outstanding season himself. 2.82 ERA, 1.06 WHIP. But opposed to Lopez, his advanced stats back up his actual numbers. He's got a 3.15 expected ERA, along with a 92nd percentile ground ball rate, which is very important in this stadium, and a 90th percentile barrel rate, which is also very important. You don't want the opposition to hit you hard, especially in this stadium. It's worked out very well for him. He's got an 85th percentile walk rate. Once again, you don't want to give up easy base runners for the opposition, keep them off balance, and not walk them, and that's what he has done all season long. And unlike Lopez, who has owned Philadelphia, Ranger Suarez has struggled against the Braves this season. He's faced them twice, and Atlanta hit him well. He permitted 8 earned runs in 10 innings. So I'm not a big believer in small sample sizes. So I think this is a huge regression game here for Philadelphia over Atlanta, and the price is very favorable. I'll take the Phillies here, and I think both pitchers tend back to what they normally would be doing, and we get a nice advantage here. Philadelphia at home, a team that I believe is the better team, and the lines makers doing the same thing, saying that, and I agree. If you look at the all seasons expected standings, Philadelphia, better team, better bet on this show today.
If you're wondering how Bryan can get on here 2 days this week, it's because he's taking the Phillies right out of the gate here to start the show. It's a real easy way to guarantee your spot here on First Pitch. Bryan Leonard taking the Phils. Hop below in the comments. Let us know. This is a huge board today, folks. 16 games since we got that doubleheader going with Milwaukee and the Reds. So hop below. Let us know what games you want to hear about, which games you're looking to bet. Steve, I know you were happy with those late runs from the Phils last night as you cashed a 4% winner for the clients with the over. And it was looking like the Phils weren't going to contribute anything, but then they got it done for you. I preface it with that, not just to pat the Phillies on the back again, but because Gary in the chat is asking the Cards and the Yankees, does this game go over? And this is the game you had slated in to touch upon. I look at this one and just wonder what kind of Yankees team are we going to get? Was that day off exactly what they needed after they drop a series to your Washington Nationals? And you look at the Cards, 2 straight wins. They end up splitting with the Padres, so a little bit of momentum for them. It's a bit of an intriguing series that's setting up, and it all starts with game 1. How do you see this one shaking out, Steve?
Yeah, I'm going to look at a free play here for Friday night between the Yankees and Cardinals. New York hosting St. Louis at 7 o'clock Eastern Friday night. Going to look at a free play here on this game. And as I do this video right now, the WagerTalk live odds screen is lighting up around 11 a.m. Eastern. In fact, there's some money move coming in on the over here. And you don't want to move a lot on video, but I think this was a head fake. So you get all pixelated when you do that. But the reason I say that is because the overnight line was 9. Got bumped down to 8.5 early this morning overnight. But I don't think the early money liked the under. I think they liked the over. They wanted to get that key number off of 9 down to 8.5. And now we're seeing buyback to the over. And as I speak, it's lighting up on the WagerTalk live odds screen. We saw Circa do it first, go from 8.5 up to 8.5 minus 20. A lot of the other leading indicator books followed as well. So I do think the over is a sharp money play in this game. And I do like over 8.5. 9 is such a key number. A lot of games can land on 9. They land on odd numbers because if it's 4-4, it has to go to extra innings. It has to get to 9 or more. So we always look for reasons to play over 8.5s, and I think we have it here. Both starting pitchers have weaker numbers their last 7 than their overall seasonal ERAs. We look at the Cardinals, 4.3 versus 3.3 for the season. And, of course, Marcus Stroman, he's got a 4.8 his last 7 starts versus just 3.9 for the season. So both of these guys over the past 2 months appear to be wearing down. Stroman did not look good in his last outing against Colorado, and it was at home. It was not in Coors Field. He lasted only 5 innings against one of the weakest teams in baseball, giving up 3 runs in those 5 innings. So I think both offenses are capable here. The Yankees are obviously a powerful offense. St. Louis also in good current form. They have scored 4 runs or more now in 4 straight games. And I look for both of them to get to the 4 to 5 run margin tonight, and we get over this 8.5. I agree with this sharp money buyback on the over 8.5 between the Cardinals and Yankees at 7 Eastern. And don't forget, college football is here. Did not have a play last night. We still have not released the best bets. So you have not missed out. Could it come tonight on Friday? Perhaps. On Saturday? Most definitely. College football is here. NFL starts next week. And baseball is red hot. Let's not sleep on baseball. 13-3 my last 16, and now 16-4 my last 20. Great time to be playing baseball as we head into the football season. Why not get all sports every day? Buy 2 weeks, get the 3rd week free right now at WagerTalk.com. That works out to less than $10 a day, less than $5 a play for every college and pro football and Major League Baseball best bet for the next 21 days and nights. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And oh, by the way, while you're there, check out the daily free play also on my page. And don't forget to click subscribe and hit the bell here on WagerTalk TV. My college football top 25 video for this weekend's 3 biggest games is live right now. WagerTalk TV and WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, more reasons than ever to subscribe. Just a quick click on the videos tab at our page. You see all kinds of single game breakdowns. And while Steve might have not had a college best bet for you, you checked out this week's bet on it. You're a little bit richer this morning as Joe Ranieri got the winner on UNC outright last night. More reasons than ever to check out all the videos, get the free content that we have here, supplement your bankroll, and then you got a little extra cash to go on over to WagerTalk.com and take advantage of the special where you can buy 2 weeks of all access, get a week free. Steve alluded to it. It's loaded on all of our cappers pages, and that includes all access. So get all the football plays, get all the MLB plays. If you like the UFC, check out some of our other handicappers and get all of their plays. 2 weeks, you get the extra week free. So 21 days of all access. WT.buzz/deals. The chat is bumping already. We appreciate that. Keep those likes coming. Keep those comments coming. Nathan T, Colin Campbell, Grant, Titan CT, Mike Scott, the regional manager, back in the house. Gary asking some questions as well. Jared Savage asking for some winners today. That's what we're looking for, Jay. And shout out to Marco as well. That's with a K. No Marco D'Angelo, not up this early on the West Coast, I suppose. But Brian Leonard's up early, and he's here cashing with us. I know you're rise and grind, just like me, Bri. Let's talk one of these late games, though. This question's come up a few times. They're asking about the Dodgers and the D-backs. It's Kershaw and it's Gallen in this one. Those pitchers are named and over at the WagerTalk live odds screen. The question was, is it Dodgers money line here on the road? How would you maybe attack this game, Bryan?
I haven't seen enough positives out of Clayton Kershaw yet to want to back him. His numbers look okay,
Fair.
But if you look at the advanced stats, he's not been very good. So it's different when you take a look at a rookie pitcher and something like that happens as opposed to a veteran. Obviously, he's come back from injury. He's got it in him. This guy could probably, he's lost his fastball velocity over the years. It hasn't mattered. He's been terrific. But until I could see him put in that good game against a good hitting offense, I don't want to back him. Zach Gallen has not pitched up to his past performance this year because of injuries. I think this is a game, we're talking totals, I think this is a game that's going to go over the total. We're looking at a total of 8.5 to the under. I think that's a pretty cheap number. Both teams are able to get to either one of these pitchers. I think it'll be a good scoring game because neither one of the starters are what we're usually expecting. And a lot of times people that don't have the knowledge and are just beginners will bet names instead of numbers, and teams instead of numbers, that kind of thing. So I think the over here is a good play. And I just wanted to point out what Steve pointed out earlier when he was talking about where the lines were moving. That's very important. You need to know which places, which sports books are leading indicators in that regard. So if you could see a place that, for example, you're playing the Superbook and you always lose at the Superbook. You want to be able to track where your bets are going into and individually track how you're doing at each sports book, because I know myself there's certain places in town here where I have not had a lot of success. So when that line moves against me, it may take me off of a bet. If it moves for me, it may put me on a bet. So it's very important to be able to break down how you do at each sports book and which ones are moving and are leading indicators.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that's some good tips here for you, not just the plays, but potentially ways to help you read the board and be able to cash moving forward here. Hit that like button while you're hanging out. Appreciate Venezuelan Poppy. He was asking, hey, I got in here a little bit late, so I gave him the rundown in case you're just joining us. Atlanta and Philadelphia we hit so far. Bri looking towards my Phillies. Steve likes the over in St. Louis and the Yankees. And we just broke down the Dodgers in Arizona there for you. So appreciate you hitting that like button, Pop. Steve, for you, anything else you have to add? I mean, Bri basically touched upon side and total there, so feel free if you have anything that you want to add on that one. But I'm also wondering, as we look at this Brewers and Reds doubleheader, anything that stands out to you, either game one, game two? It looks like we're going to go Rea, Martinez, and then come back with Hall and Louder. So, I mean, first game maybe I have a little bit more of a read on, but I nothing jumps off the board at me here. So help me out here with these Brewers and Reds.
Yeah, in general, I kind of always stay away from doubleheaders. I think there's a little bit more uncertainty built into them. Will not be involved with this early daytime game. It's a very early game at 12:40 Eastern. But what we talk about a lot, though, for the second game, and the reason it's hard to release it here in advance to clients is because we need to see how the first game plays out. You always want to see how a previous game plays. And the one thing we always keep an eye on is bullpen usage. And right now they've got the game one total 9 to the over. And by the way, as we're doing this live right now at 11:15 a.m. Eastern, the WagerTalk live odds board is lighting up on this over as well. We've just seen a money move across the board to the over in game one. So there's a little bit of sharp money coming in. And once again, this opened as high as 10 overnight was 9.5, now down to 9. So there's a little bit of a buyback now that it finally hit that key number of 9. But I think the early money actually liked the under in the game here at 12:40 Eastern. But we'll see how much bullpen usage we get, because the second game has a very high total of 10 right now, the highest on the board for Friday evening, Hall and Loaders. So should be some runs in both games today in Cincinnati. If it's runs in game one, that's going to dissipate the bullpens for both teams, and the over could be worth a look then in game two.
Yeah, love that breakdown. WT.buzz/Steve Merril. You can give him a shout out on X over at Steve Merril. Keep those comments coming, folks. We appreciate it. If you're watching on the rewatch, hop below. If you're on social, make sure you hit that follow button. TikTok, X, Instagram, growing on all of those platforms. So you hit follow. We'll be right there in your timeline, getting you that info you know and you love. Bryan, for you, again, feel free to chime in on that doubleheader that we have today, but I got to get your take on this Guardians team. Pirates and Guardians today, Falter and Lively looks like what we're going to get for the probable matchup at 7:10 Eastern. Guardians, another overcoming this week. Earlier this week, it was a 3-run deficit that they were able to hold on to that slim lead that they have over there in the AL Central. But just 4 out of the last 13 for this team that was rolling before the All-Star break, and they've definitely come crashing back down to earth here. For this game, sure, how you may be looking to bet this one, but moving forward as well, is there concern starting to creep in here for the Guardians faithful?
We'll start off with the Milwaukee-Cincinnati doubleheader. I prefer the Milwaukee side, obviously the better team, and Cincinnati yesterday had a shootout against the Oakland A's, had to use a lot of their main relievers, didn't have a lot of success. In fact, I believe their best 3 back-end relievers have pitched 2 out of the last 3 days. Now we're looking at that doubleheader. I think Milwaukee, who's had a terrific bullpen all season long, has a huge advantage in this doubleheader. And the lines are cheap. You're looking at Milwaukee as about a 110 favorite in game 1. And, basically a pick 'em in game 2 going against Louder, who is one of the best pitching prospects. In fact, the number 1 pitching prospect for the Reds, but it's still his major league debut. And we've seen a lot of those this year where the guys just get blown up. We saw Later again yesterday for Texas, a little bit better than what he'd done before, but he had terrible numbers before. So if you're looking to play that doubleheader, I don't normally pick game 2s ahead of time. With the bullpen situation, I think Milwaukee's a good bet in both of these games. As for the Cleveland game, I'm kind of leaning with Pittsburgh here with Bailey Falter, lefty going against this Cleveland team. Cleveland's offense was very good against lefties earlier this season. They brought in the player from Washington who's hit lefties all season long. Gets to Cleveland, can't hit a lefty for life dependent on it. And the offense has struggled a little bit more versus lefties. Lively, I've talked about it all season long. He's been the one consistent, but if you've seen his last few starts, he's been getting pretty lucky. So Cleveland right now is a team I'm not looking to back. They've really struggled lately. And I said a couple weeks ago that they would finish in 3rd place in this division, and they're looking like it because they just have not played well against good opposition lately. Not saying that the Pittsburgh Pirates are, but I like some things Pittsburgh's doing. They moved their shortstop, who doesn't play much very good defense, O'Neill. They moved him to center field, made a hell of a play yesterday. And they're a better team now than they were earlier. They've got Jones back in the rotation, and they've got a guy, Bubba, in AAA, who's been terrific. So they're a team that we can make some money on the rest of the year on Pittsburgh. And I think we start today. I like their side here against Cleveland. Just don't trust this Cleveland offense. They've really struggled in the second half.
Yeah, and as far as this game in a vacuum too, you're looking at a Cleveland team that all the pressure is on them, and we've talked about it a couple of times with Steve as well, of just how with this Pirates team moving forward, is it we lost, we're deflated, or is it just playing with house money and playing spoiler in some cases? So definitely coming in with the pressure and the tighter games here is definitely the Cleveland Guardians. So looking towards a nice potential plus money price here if you're looking towards Pittsburgh is the thought for our man Bryan Leonard. WT.buzz/BL is where you can find him over at WagerTalk. WagerTalk.com. Best bets are coming up. Steve Merril going to talk the Mariners and the Angels. Brian's got a best bet in Baltimore taking on Colorado, but we'll hit a couple more games that we've had come up here in the chat first. One of which, Steve, Houston coming off of the win against the Kansas City Royals. 6-3 was the final in that one. Looks like we're going to have Lugo and Valdez, so a premier pitching matchup that we're going to have going at 8:10 Eastern tonight. Does that mean we look towards the under in this one, first 5 under, or is this pitching matchup just giving us more potential for some late runs in this game, pushing us towards the over on that total? How are you looking to bet this one, Steve?
Yeah, this one's actually been bumped up a bit. It opened 7.5. It's now up to 8 under in some locations. Not a tremendous move because 8 is somewhat of a non-key number, as we talked about. We've definitely seen some money come in on the Astros. They opened as low as -150, -175 in a lot of locations. So it's pretty pricey. If you like the Astros, I think you're better off on the run line at this point. The -1.5 plus 130 is probably a better value play as far as the side goes in this game. And we're talking about that AL Central. Bryan mentioned he thought Cleveland was maybe a third-place team. Well, if you look at run differential, they're pretty close. They're +68 for the season. Minnesota's +63. The Royals, who are in second right now, +102. And we've talked about this a lot. It's amazing how good Kansas City has been this season. In fact, that run differential is second best in the American League. It's better than even the Orioles by 20 net runs. Yet the Royals are not even winning their division, and they're only 2 up right now for one of the wild card spots. Kansas City has struggled this year on the road compared to home, but they've started to even that out. A couple months ago it was an extreme home road dichotomy. Not as much now. This team is 41-28 at home, but they're actually 34-32. They have a winning record now on the road. Does look like they're peaking at the right time. Houston, of course, is pulling away with the West, although they're only 4 games up with the Mariners. I'm going to talk about the Mariner-Angels game and my best bet coming up, as you mentioned. Seattle has not quit. So it's a very important game for both squads. Maybe we get a little bit of a playoff atmosphere, so the under 8 might be worth a look if that's the case, because, we do see a little bit more small ball in important playoff-type games.
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you for sure, Steve. Bryan, last game here before we'll rip our best bets. Let's take a look at the Padres and the Rays. Question here from Venezuelan Poppy asking about this one. Like I mentioned earlier when we were setting up that other game, the Padres, they had to settle for a split against that Cards team, and now they're taking on the Rays. Looks like Perez and Bradley going to go in this one. And Padres maybe hoping getting away from the ballpark and heading on to Florida playing a team that also is middling here a little bit with the Rays is exactly what this team needs. Would you see that here in game one? How are you looking to bet this one?
Yeah, Padres playing pretty good ball. Tampa Bay no longer in the playoff position, but they're playing about 500 ball. They brought up a good amount of young guys. The offense, I believe I heard somewhere that they're the worst offense in Major League Baseball since the All-Star break, and I can see that. They're making playing a lot of players that normally wouldn't be playing, but I think there's an advantage here in this line. Tampa Bay playing at home. Bradley, to me, is clearly the better pitcher than Perez. I know when Perez went over to San Diego, they tweaked him a little bit, and he threw a couple of good starts, but he's starting to get back to where he was before. He's never been a guy that's going to overwhelm you with his pitching ability. He's just a crafty veteran. And Tampa Bay, Bradley has been terrific. He's been terrific at home all season long. Much prefer the Tampa Bay side here. I know that San Diego bullpen is probably, if not Cleveland's, they're the best in the business when it comes down to the end of the game. But I think Tampa Bay should be able to get to Perez before that starts. So we'll have them ahead in the first 5. I think the first 5 is probably a good bet. And I'd play them in the game. The pitching matchup, you rarely get a pitching matchup this drastic where the better pitcher is at home in this price range. So this Tampa Bay is not like some of the other teams that we could bet against on a consistent basis. What they don't do offensively, they do well in pitching and playing defense. I prefer the Tampa Bay side.
Tampa Bay, the potential look there, the lean for our man Bryan Leonard. Keep those likes coming, folks. And if you're watching on the rewatch, comment below. Let us know what your best bet is, because you're going to find out what the guys are right now. Steve, we're going to start with you. Let folks know what you have over at your page. They can take advantage of that buy 2 weeks, get one free special over at your page right now. But you want to talk Mariners and Angels. And talk about an unknown. How about the 22-year-old pitcher getting the start here tonight for the A's against George Kirby? I'll let you try and pronounce the last name here as you give us the breakdown, Steve.
It's a former Philadelphia Philly prospect that is now with the Angels, Samuel Aldegheri. I was going to ask Dan Alexander how to pronounce that, but he left me hanging. This guy was actually born in Italy. Born in Italy, so he's Aldegheri. He's an Italian, I guess, but he's a lefty, throws lefty, bats lefty, pure lefty. He's only about 6'1", 180, so not a big guy. But what jumps out to me about this game is that he has never pitched, obviously, in the majors. He has never pitched, I believe, in AAA. He's played AA or less all the way back to 2019 when he was in the Foreign League. So, this guy is not like a hot Paul Skeens type prospect coming up. I'm not sure what the Angels are doing here. They're out of the playoff race, so I think they're giving them some work. I do like to back maiden starters in general because other teams aren't familiar with them. You also kind of catch lightning in a bottle sometimes. But looking at this guy's numbers, he's been very mediocre, mid to high 3 ERA, but that's at AA or less. At AAA, that'd be a 4. MLB, that's probably a 5. So my pitcher projection ratings, extrapolating from the minors and the Foreign League, does not look like for a great outing for him tonight. The Mariners are still in the playoff hunt. They're 4 back in the division, 4.5 out of the wild card. So they're in the mix here. They have regressed a little bit over the last couple months, but they're still a winning team, and they've got a lot to play for here. So I do like the matchup here as far as having George Kirby on the mound for the M's. And also I like the fact he's coming off a bad outing. Decent pitchers normally bounce back. We saw him have a terrible outing back on August 13th, his worst start maybe of his career, when he gave up 11 runs in 3 innings. He bounced back after that with a 2-run, 6-inning performance. Struggled a little bit again in his last start against the Giants last week on the 24th. 4 innings, 3 runs. But I think it's bounce back mode tonight against a very suspect Angels team that has lost 7 of their last 8. They won the getaway game yesterday on Thursday against the Tigers after losing the first 2, 9-4 combined. This team had gone 7 straight losses before that getaway win yesterday. I don't read much into that. And they're returning home off a multi-week road trip. The best spot is to fade these teams after a day off. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen here. But the second best spot is just to fade them. And I always like to play Game 1 road favorites, especially on Friday nights. My friend Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com, has pointed out that's the most profitable angle of the week. So we get a lot of things working for us here. Better team in Game 1 on Friday night, fading a team off an extended road trip, and we get the pitching edge as well. The Mariners are a little pricey, though, so we're going to have to use the run line. It's minus 180, minus 190. So let's be responsible and get it down on the run line to minus 1.5, minus $1.15. So take a look at the Seattle Mariners at 9:38 Eastern tonight on Friday. And don't forget, I've got some strong best bets tonight for my clients in baseball. College football is here. We did not release a best bet yet, so you have not missed out. We've got some strong best bets for this weekend in college football ready to go. And you can get every sport every day for the next 21 days and nights for less than $10 a day, less than $5 a play. Because when you get 2 weeks, you get the third week for free right now. No promo code needed. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And oh, by the way, we're talking football. Everyone's excited about football, but baseball 16-4, my last 20 best bets. Get Friday strong plays, get this weekend's football, and also get daily free plays right now. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM.
Yeah, and as Steve said, too, don't forget about baseball. If you've been watching the show live here, we've pointed out that there's been a couple line moves here early in the morning. So people who are throwing some big bucks down, able to move some markets, they're not forgetting about baseball either. We're going to be right here with you on First Pitch through the regular season, cashing alongside you. So keep on coming back. Hit that subscribe button and little bell will always remind you so you don't miss us when we go live here. Bryan, tell folks what you have locked and loaded, because football right around the corner for you. You've been gearing up because you don't do any of the preseason garbage. You just hone the craft, keep cashing in baseball like you've been, and get ready to go for real, meaningful football. So people can check out that deal over at your page and they get your baseball right alongside it. And that's been a nice boon for you and your clients heading here into football season. So tell folks what you have locked and loaded, and let us know how we're looking to bet this Rockies and Baltimore game. Because if memory serves me correctly, you made us money laying it with the Colorado Rockies. Now they're back to their customary plus next to their name, as they have a little bit of a step up in competition, not playing the Marlins anymore and coming off of a loss. So Baltimore, Colorado, and what can folks find over at your page?
Yeah, I very much like Steve. I haven't really gotten involved with college football as of yet. We had one free play. It won. But still working on today's college football. But I do have some nice plays up for Saturday and Sunday right now on a 23-11 college football run as we enter the season. I've got 5 plays in Major League Baseball today, and I'm normally an underdog player, but I think today's a pretty good card for favorites, and I think my cat agrees with that because we haven't heard from him today. So I am going to use a best bet here, but it's going to be an underdog, and hopefully it'll be a little bit of a teaching moment. If I was to tell you we got the Baltimore Orioles on the road with probably their most consistent starter going against Austin Gomber in Colorado, you would expect the line higher than what it is now. I'm looking across the board. I'm seeing the high of 136 at offshore and as low as 129 at Pinnacle. And if the best line is at Pinnacle in a baseball game, and it's one that's going against public perception, that's probably the right side. And that's what I have here as well. Baltimore, Colorado, can't blame the Orioles if they enter this series with a bit of a letdown. After all, they just faced the Red Sox, the Mets, the Astros, and the Dodgers. And now they take on the also-rans of the Colorado Rockies and the Chicago White Sox. So we already know when you go into altitude, that has an effect on you. And I think that's going to be a key in this Colorado victory tonight. Albert Suarez takes the hill, as I mentioned, probably the most consistent Baltimore starter. He has a 3.18 ERA, 1.27 whip, but his expected ERA is almost a full run higher at 4.11. And he's also in the 18th percentile in ground ball rate and 21st in strikeout rate. And if you don't strike out a lot of batters in the stadium and you're a fly ball pitcher, this is a dangerous place to play. We're also, if you're looking to bet Baltimore in this game, you're also buying high, as his last 4 starts have resulted in only 2 earned runs in 23.1 innings. So I expect that to regress, which gives us more reason to play on Colorado. Austin Gomber has not had a lot of success, but he has pitched for Colorado. He's done pretty well over the years in this building. He takes the hill for the host. He comes in with a 4.70 ERA, 1.29 whip. And just keep in mind, half his games are being played in Colorado, so there'll always be a little inflation in that regard. But he's in the 81st percentile in walk rate, 73rd in extension, which means he doesn't put extra base runners on base based on balls, and the ball gets on you quicker than it would a normal pitcher. The O's will have to make that altitude adjustment, as I mentioned. The Rockies will continue the homestand after facing the Marlins the last 4 games. The line tells me Colorado's the right side. The regression for the Baltimore pitcher tells me this is the right side. I think we got a really good underdog play here on the Rockies.
Looking at the Rockies, nice plus money price for our man Bryan Leonard. That's the best bet for you. Check out these guys' true best bets, locked and loaded over at WagerTalk.com. Hopefully we got some free play winners there for you. Let's have a moment of silence here for our man Jack Barkow, who said, I lost big on the Gophers last night. We're sorry for you, Jack. But if you would have watched Bet On It, you would have known that wasn't going to be the right side. So, hey, make sure you're subscribed here. I kid, Jack. You asked for a play, the only play that I got in college football tonight. Yes, I am from Philly, but Temple's in trouble tonight here, folks. I mean, the line tells you everything you need to know. 15 starters are coming back for Oklahoma. You got Sawchuk back in the backfield, 5 of their top 6 wide receivers. This one you can turn off by halftime. Oklahoma laying it in the first half, 27.5. That's my bet tonight here in college football for you, Jack. Hopefully we can cash and take some sting off of the Gopher play for you, but also rewatch the show here. These guys just gave you plays in just about 8 or 9 different MLB games, and we got best bets in Mariners and Angels and the O's and Colorado. Give the guys a like and give them a follow over on X. And give us the subscribe here on the WagerTalk TV YouTube channel. Don't go anywhere. Just over 15, 20 minutes from now, Andy Lang, Gianni, the Greek, and Bryan Power, not Brian Leonard, who we have here. I got through a show, guys, without calling you the wrong name, Bry. So I'm patting myself on the back here. But Bryan Power going to be with the guys over on WagerTalk today. Lawrence Presman, the Prez, and Teddy Covers getting you some winners there. And the college football show coming your way this afternoon as well. More reasons than ever to hit that little bell, folks. And best of luck this weekend. WagerTalk last call coming your way with a couple new additions tomorrow as well. So stay right here on WagerTalk TV. If you're watching on the rewatch, you don't even have to go anywhere. The video on the screen right now will keep you rolling, getting you the winners that you know and love. We'll see you on Monday here for first pitch, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. here on the West Coast. Until then, best of luck, everyone, and we'll see you next week.